the issue, but the question is tactics. And my question is, were you aware of Roger Stone's indictment before it became public?
Congressman, that's as you know, an important question. It is also, Mr. Stone is part of an ongoing investigation, but I have, again, been briefed on the special counsel's investigation. That would have been that would have been considered a development that I would have been briefed on, and I was briefed on that.
Are you familiar from public reports or otherwise that a CNN reporter was camped out outside of Stone's house when the FBI arrested him?
Thank you.
This wouldn't be part of the investigation.
I am aware of that, and it was deeply concerning to me as to how CNN found out about that.
Well, that is I'm glad we're going down that road, Mr. Attorney General, because did somebody at the Department of Justice seemingly share a draft indictment with CNN prior to Stone's arrest? Prior to a grand jury's finding of a true bill?
Ranking Member Collins, the court had a sealed indictment that after Mr. Stone's arrest was unsealed. Consistent with all its prior indictments, the DOJ's basic policy for transparency in criminal cases is that the indictment is posted on the DOJ webpage promptly after it's unsealed, and then media outlets were notified. We do not know of any, and I do not know of any other special counsel's office notice or DOJ notice to media outlets regarding Mr. Stone's indictment or his arrest. And otherwise, I really, as I sit here today, don't have any other information that I can talk about regarding Mr. Stone.
Well, given your answer even just then, it does seem concerning given the timing of this reporter's knowledge and other things that there seems to have been a gap in that discovery. And just another question is if anybody would outside this, would you view this as a problem? Because this looks like this is something, I'm just asking, in your final days here, would this be a problem with DOJ if we're looking at the timing doesn't match up, that it seems to appear that this was given pre or prior knowledge, not going through the normal channels? Because if it was given through normal channels, every media outlet would have been there. But only one was.
Mr. Collins, I share your concern with the possibility that a media outlet was tipped off to Mr. Stone's either indictment or arrest before it was made, that information was available to the public.
One of the other issues, and this is, since we're going to go down this, the chairman wanted to have this, this is a question that's not unfamiliar, and it should be. Is Bruce Orr still employed with the Department of Justice?
To answer your question directly, Mr. Collins, Bruce Orr is currently employed with the Department of Justice.
Okay. Is there any process at this point or that you could comment on? I understand personnel issues, but are you aware of the discussions and also the implication investigations from Congress and from others surrounding Bruce Orr's involvement in many of the investigation problems that we have seen over the past few years at DOJ?
Mr. Collins, I am generally aware of Mr. Orr being questions being raised about his behavior at the Department of Justice.
Let me tell you it a different way. Knowing what you know and seeing what you have seen and using your past experience and prior knowledge, do you believe that Mr. Orr was operating outside normal channels and appropriate channels in which he was operating under, which has been publicly reported?
Mr. Collins, this is a very important question for many people, both in this body and in the general public. The Office of Inspector General is currently looking at the Carter Page FISA application,
which is very much of a concern,
and it is also being reviewed at the same time and simultaneously by Mr. John Huber, who's the U.S. Attorney from Utah, who was asked by Attorney General Sessions to conduct a review of certain matters at the Department of Justice. And so, together with the fact that any situation regarding Mr. Orr's employment would be part of a confidential human resources process, I just am unable to talk any more about Mr. Orr, his involvement in any matters that could be subject to either an Inspector General's investigation or a human resource matter.
Well, Attorney General Whitaker, barring the now again, as we had another part to our play this morning, we are now finding out that you may be subpoenaed to come back and do a deposition, which again, as we continue down this line, is any way around this to continue to attack it.